Hello friends, welcome to the Indian Psychologist. I am Dr. Jithendra. In this video, we are going to try and analyze Robert Kiyosaki's methods and some of the problems with these methods. The first thing that I would like to say is that I'm not a certified financial advisor and don't take my advice seriously. Just try to analyze them. Just trying to give a perspective from a psychologist's angle. Even though we will be talking a little bit about certain economical jargons and stuff like that, I would like you to know that I'm not a certified financial advisor, but I am a certified psychologist. So we will be taking a deeper look into his methods and how it not be may not be so easy for a layman to adapt. Right. The first thing that I would like to say is there are two gangs for Robert Kiyosaki. One is that the people who really like him and will follow his methods blindly and propagate his methods blindly. The other is the people who hate him, antagonize him, and say that he has a lot of organization which have gone broke, and that the methods that he is preaching were not even useful to himself. No, I'm not an investigative journalist, so I'm not going to be trying to undermine Robert Kiyosaki or to blow him up or anything like that. All I'm trying to say is some of his methods are not applicable for the layman. Now, the first part of the equation is people really believe that they need a lot of money in order for to make their lives happier. But what they don't understand is that yes, money is required to make your life palpable, but more than money, you need peace of mind. I'm not talking about peace of mind from a Zen perspective or anything like that, where I'm going to try and tell you that just relax and live your life like that, like a hippie or anything like that. I'm not telling you to actually let go of all the worldly belongings and things like that. What I'm saying is, even though you would like to purchase things, have a happy life and everything, whether you are able to sleep at peace at night is really important, because one aspect of debt that a lot of people don't talk about usually is the fact that debt actually keeps you up on all the night, right? And it keeps you go round and round. When I say things like this abruptly, you may not be able to understand what I'm trying to say, but I will just explain one of the perspectives that Robert Kiyosaki takes and the problems associated with that perspective. The first perspective is that he says that you can take a loan. The one thing that I would like to say before I go any further is that I really like Robert Kiyosaki, his books, and I have used them a lot and I've understood a lot of things from his books, and his books have been a gateway to a lot of things I've learned in life. But here what I'm trying to say is, even though I like those things, the things that I'm about to say will make sense to you if you think about it deeply, right? The first thing that he says is that money is cheap. Why is it cheap? Because central banks keep increasing money supply because they believe that inflation is better than deflation, that prices going up is better than prices going down. So central banks usually want to maintain a healthy inflation rate, but most central banks do not, because they do a lot of things which are not required just to get re-elected again. They work with governments and stuff like that. So all that you have to understand is what Robert Kiyosaki is saying is that as money supply increases, the prices go up, and as prices go up, if you just save money in the bank, you're not actually saving money, you are losing money, because the banks give you 1% interest rate. What he is talking about is in the US for the savings accounts, and what you end up losing is 4 to 5% in inflation. But the first thing that you can sense straight away is that what he is talking about is US's inflation rate and US's interest rates and things like that. The first thing that we have to understand is that it is different across different countries, and in places like India, it's really different, and it is actually problematic because savings interest rate is close to 4.5 to 5% in certain banks in India, and then the rate of interest that you have to pay to get a home loan or something like that is ranging around 7 to 9% in India and things like that, right? So the first thing that you can immediately straight away see is the fact that the interest rates that he talks about and the interest rates that are prevalent around the world are not the same, and that by itself is an indication that his theories might not be able to be applied across the world. That's the first point. The second point being that when your saving interest rate is 1% and the rate at which you take money from the bank is at 4%, the leverage is kind of like 3%, which is actually 3 to 4 times. But if when you think about India, when you get a savings interest rate of 4.5 to 5%, and the home loan rates start at 8 to 9%, it's only double the amount. Talking in purely in terms of percentage, it's double the amount. So when you use compounding, some of the things that I'm going to say might actually make you get confused a little bit. But if you get confused, you can go back, pause the video, and go over things again so that you can understand. Right? Straight away, the problem is that the compounding is not the same in India as it is in the US. That's the first level. The other thing is Robert Kiyosaki takes a lot of things for granted. Like for example, he talks a lot about depreciation. The depreciation rates in India are different from the appreciation rates in US. Even if you are in the US, it's not going to be simple and easy, simply because of the fact that even when your depreciation rates are what Robert Kiyosaki states, if you take a loan and let's say you don't get a client or a person to rent your house or your real estate property for a few months, or you get into a legal litigation with the property. Even in US, it might be a little easier for you to get out of those legal problems, but in India, those legal problems take a really long amount of time, right? So if such problems arises, you have to continuously keep paying the interest rates while there is no income. And because there is no income and you have to keep paying the interest rates, and you have a property which has now become a liability. Because one thing Robert Kiyosaki continuously states is the fact that the asset needs to be giving you money and not be taking money from you. That's one of the most important aspects of assets according to him. But the problem with real estates and any asset in general is you cannot expect it to keep giving you money every month, and you cannot assume that that will be constant. And if you assume that it is going to be constant, any flip anywhere and any glitch anywhere will make you get into a real trouble. Because when your income stops and you have to keep paying out money, the rate at which your money compounds negatively increases exponentially. This exponentiality problem is the real problem in Robert Kiyosaki's methods. Now, what happens is it's not just a case of exponentially increasing this problem. Once you feel that you're not able to rent out your property and you have to keep paying interest rates, your mind flips out. That's the real problem. Because what I am saying from the beginning is the fact that if you do not have a calm mind and if you cannot go to sleep at night, it creates a lot of different problems. And the most important problem that you will face is the problem making decisions. And when you have problems making the right decisions, sometimes you will make a lot of wrong decisions at a stretch because your mind is stressed out and you are completely anxious. This is where the Robert Kiyosaki's methods go for a real tumble. So what I'm saying is all the aspects that he says might be true, but still, even if they are true, when it comes to reality, when it comes to human beings and how they handle money, and when it comes to reality, when certain things go wrong in this world, the amount of stress that is going to give you is not going to be worth the money that you're going to be able to make from the property. Now, one of the aspects that Robert Kiyosaki talks about is if you have only one property, it's going to be problematic. But if you spread it across a lot of different properties, the problem is going to be lesser. If you ask me, it might be good in paper, but if you have a lot of moving parts in this world, your problems only keep uh, getting exponentially bigger. Because as there are a lot of moving parts, there might be a lot of things that could go wrong with a lot of different locations at a lot of different points, and you have to be always be aware of all these problems. Now, when I say things like this, you might be thinking, yes, there are problems, but there are problems all around and in all other businesses. But here the problem is a little different, because simply because of the fact that the problems here grow exponentially. When there is a stoppage in your income, and when you have to completely and continuously keep paying out money, the problems keep getting exponential, And that's where the real problem is at. And because of the problem is getting exponentially bigger, you are stressed out, and that's what's going to cause you more trouble. So this is one reason, this is one of those reasons I'm saying that Robert Kiyosaki's methods might not be applicable for people around the world. So, to summarize, there are just 3 points. One is that compounding is just not positively compounding, it's also negatively compounding. When you are going to say that compounding is going to be exponential, it's not just going to be exponential positively, it might also be exponential negatively. And when you have your own money and you have invested your money, you can wait for the things to get going up. But when you have taken a debt, you cannot wait anymore. So there is not just the exponentially negative and positive aspects to taking in debt and taking and purchasing properties. The first one most important thing that you have to realize is that people are different from banks, and banks get the support of the government. Well, the usual normal people don't. The third most important aspect is that debt not only has a mathematical aspect to it, debt also has a psychological aspect to it. And when debt goes bad, and when your assets stop performing, and when it is not going to give you money, but it's going to take money from you, it's going to cause a lot of psychological distress. And that psychological distress might make you make a lot of wrong decisions, and that's where it could go wrong. If you like this video, we can do more such videos and I can explain you more in depth as to what are the different aspects of Robert Kiyosaki that is a little more problematic and cannot be applied to the real world. What we should not try to do is try to antagonize him and trying to make him the bad guy, because he has done a lot of good things. He is also making money out of what he is doing. Who else is not trying to do that? So rather than trying to make him a hero or antagonize him, what we can do is, if there is a lot of perspectives from him, not just from him, from anybody, right? We can just explore those perspectives, try to figure out what are those perspectives that is useful to us and not too useful to us, and just use the things which are applicable and useful to us. So that's the purpose of this video, and that will be the purpose of many of my other videos as well. So thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, like the video, and if you would like to subscribe to this channel, you can, and have a great time.